Hey everyone, I want to report today on a conversation that I had this morning with Senator Wyden's office. Senator Wyden is the Senate Finance Committee chairman, and he's been a senator for many years. In fact, he was a senator when Medicare Advantage was created in 2004 under the Medicare Modernization Act. He, in fact, was one of the only Democrats who voted for the Medicare Modernization Act that created Medicare Advantage and also created prescription drug plans. And so he's been very involved in Medicare for a very long time. Interesting about that vote, if you go back and look at it, most of the politicians who say negative things about Medicare Advantage, including even our President Biden, voted against the Medicare Modernization Act that created Medicare Advantage and created prescription drug plans. So even as they have improved prescription drug plans, many of them voted against creating them in the first place. So that's a very interesting piece of history that a lot of people don't know. But both parties, Medicare and Democrat, have done things to strengthen Medicare. And so, why am I getting into all the politics? Probably because I just spoke to Senator Wyden's office. And I have a contact there who I've spoken to before, and her name is Eva Dugoff, and I have so much respect for her. I went and met with her last year at her office in Washington, D.C., and it's actually Senator Wyden's office in Washington, D.C., and she is a senior policy advisor on health care to Senator Wyden and to the Senate Finance Committee. And what I really was impressed with Eva is that she actually understands the situation in Medicare better than anyone I've spoken to in Washington, D.C. She actually understands what FMOs are, she understands what agents do, and I was very impressed with her then and impressed with her again today. I met with her, with Melissa Dickerson, and Shade Streeter. So these three are all worked with the Senate Finance Committee and with Senator Wyden's office. And we discussed what's happening in Medicare right now, what has AEP been like, and it really gave me an opportunity to share. And I came into the meeting thinking that I was going to share 3 things, but I ended up with 4 when it was done. So let me tell you what the 4 things are that I shared with Senator Wyden and the Senate Finance Committee's, the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee. Number 1, I shared that with everything that has changed this year, there was so much change, the rapid rate of change of the Inflation Reduction Act, also of just policy changes, the final rule, and as insurance agents, we know a lot about the final rule, and we were hit with the final rule, but there were multiple final rules and multiple policy changes that affected insurance companies, agents, seniors, everything all throughout the year. And the rate of change created a situation where there was uncertainty and even chaos that we're all facing in the market. Many, many plan cancellations, over 3 million people, almost 3 million people that had their Medicare Advantage plan canceled this year. And that's 10% approximately of all the people on Medicare Advantage had their plan canceled this year. So massive disruption. So that was number 1. I wanted to share that, and I'm sure they've heard that from a lot of people. Number 2 was I wanted to share what we found about the Inflation Reduction Act and the $2,000 maximum out-of-pocket impact on Medicare Advantage and prescription drug plans. It was, the $2,000 max out-of-pocket is a great benefit. But the way that it was administered, it's been added to the current system. And the current system has some weird things in it. For example, instead of it being an actual $2,000 maximum based on what you spend, it's a $2,000 maximum based on what you spend and on what is spent on your behalf. And so we found that some people are hitting their $2,000 maximum out of pocket in 2025, or will hit it, after only spending $360. Well, that is nice for those people, but if you're on a different plan, you're going to actually have to spend the $2,000. But the place where we saw the biggest disparity was between Medicare Advantage and prescription drug plans. If you're on a prescription drug plan and you have expensive meds, you are guaranteed to hit the $2,000 maximum across the boards. But if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan with the same meds, you might only spend $300. So I shared with them that these changes, the way they were implemented, and they should have changed, in my opinion, should have changed the way that the benefits for Medicare or for prescription drug plans are administered, so that the individual actually does have to spend $2,000. It's not $2,000 that you and your insurance company spend. It's $2,000 that you spend, so that it's fair and equal. Because the result will be, and we're already seeing, that with a $2,000 spend on prescription drug plans, but only a $300 spend on Medicare Advantage plans, it's making Medicare Advantage plans more desirable and prescription drug plans more expensive, and pushing more people away from Medicare supplements into Medicare Advantage. Now, there can be debates on whether or not that's a good thing, but the impact is that it is again increasing the number of people that are on Medicare Advantage and decreasing the number of people on original Medicare. So I shared that with them as number 2. Number 3 that I wanted to share with them was were some comments around the role of a Medicare broker and FMOs in Medicare distribution. And I shared with them some of my concerns about what I saw at the Senate Finance Committee hearing last year. I shared with them the pain that it was for me as an advocate for seniors and an advocate for insurance agents who do the right thing by the seniors, to hear us be called marketing middlemen by Senator Wyden. That was painful for me. I do not approve of that, and I want to vehemently say that that is wrong. We are not some marketing middlemen who are out for ourselves. We are the only channel that represents the people with Medicare and truly represents their interests. And so I illustrated that with them. I talked through how can someone get unbiased advice on their Medicare. They can't call an insurance company, that'll be biased. They can't call a national call center. There's only 3 or 4 plans or insurance companies that the national call centers generally are working with. They have to work with a local or an independent insurance broker to really get unbiased advice. The only other place that they can get that kind of advice is with the State Health Insurance Program, or SHIP. And I shared with them the challenge that I have with SHIP is that the advisors at SHIP go through a 1-week training program, and then they start telling people what to do with their Medicare. That does not compare with what an insurance agent does, being licensed, having an insurance license, going through certifications for every insurance company. I mean, I'm putting in, 80 to 120 hours of work every year just to be able to represent insurance companies, and all of you are. And so I was illustrating that and sharing with them that the state of health, what we see, and I can't specifically prove this. So I was telling them, think of this like an exit poll. It's what we see when people are coming out of SHIP. We see that a SHIP counselor is typically a senior, and let's say that senior has an insurance plan, and let's say they have a Medicare Advantage plan. When someone comes in and gets advice from that SHIP counselor, they typically are going to be told that they should sign up for the same insurance plan. If that SHIP counselor has a Humana HMO, then most likely the people they help are going to end up on a Humana HMO. If they have a United Healthcare Medicare supplement, then most likely the people that walk away from them are going to have a United Healthcare Medicare supplement. So there's tons of bias in there. So I was illustrating to them that the one place that you will get advice on your Medicare without bias is the place that has been under attack these last years, the independent insurance agent. Then the fourth thing was, and this came out of our conversations, did you know that national call centers, they hire someone they hired just last week that just got insurance license, has 0 experience, gets access immediately to CMS Marx system, and can put in someone's social security number and get their Part A and B effective dates, their Medicare number, can see every insurance plan that person has been on or is on or is transitioning to. We don't have access to that, and we're like, why are we second-class citizens in Medicare distribution? So that was my fourth thing. And then there was one question that they asked me. It was if I had seen some of this deceptive marketing that's been on social media, particularly about people being able to get money back in their taxes based on their Medicare plan. And I said, no, I haven't seen that, but I've seen all kinds of deceptive marketing. And when you see that deceptive marketing, the different ads that you see on social media or YouTube or what have you, they always, without exception, in my experience, link back to some foreign call center in Pakistan or the Philippines or somewhere else that is contacting us to sell live leads. I mean, I get contacted by 6 or 7 people a day on LinkedIn saying, hey, do you want some live leads? So, and they're always from Pakistan and from Singapore and from, the Philippines. I mean, they're foreign national corporations. They're not us. So that's what I shared with Senator Wyden's office. It was a great conversation. I appreciate them. And every time I speak with them, I get confidence that there are good people. We just need to make sure that we're sharing with them what it's like in the real world with people like us who are helping people with Medicare.